I have been extremely busy painting and moving us to our new house. We have a lot of work to do. So I am behind on my book club stuff. I am finishing up last month's book, Faith Rooted Organizing. I'm just about done with it. I still need to get the book club educational piece out over Christian nationalism, work on last month's book club educational piece, but I did decide to move on to this month's readings. We are doing The Brainwashing of My Dad and How Propaganda Works. And just here in the beginning of the book, I found an interesting little tidbit that I thought really, really applies to us right now. So in the 1920s, we went from a mixed market economy to a free market economy. The free market economy then encouraged more profit type stuff. And thus, the Republican Party dominated the White House during this era, with 3 consecutive presidents: Warren Harding from 1921 to 1923, Calvin Coolidge from 1923 to 1929, and Herbert Hoover from 1929 to 1933. Though there were improvements in the lives of some American families with the advent of electric lighting and indoor flush toilets, income inequality was the dark underside of the 1920s. The rich were growing richer, and the poor had to struggle along with no safety nets. So this is exactly what's happening now. Our income inequality is getting even worse, and that 1% are getting even richer, taking away our Medicaid. I don't know exactly what's happening with Medicare, but taking away our social safety nets. During this time, the stock market was booming. Opportunistic investors were taking bigger and bigger risk, often buying stocks on credit with very low interest rates. But behind the scenes lay a troubled agricultural sector, low wages for working class people, bank loans unable to be liquidated, and lots of debt. We're already having troubles with our agricultural sector today because of the tariffs. So essentially, we go into a Great Depression. The stock market crashed on October 29th, 1929, just months after Herbert Hoover became president. Billions of dollars evaporated from the economy as stock prices spiraled, and by 1932, the stock market would be worth only about 20% of what it had been before the crash. There are reports out there about our government wanting to go over to more crypto. So I don't know what exactly is going to happen with all that. So we'll have to keep our eyes peeled. But going back to this, unemployment levels rose to record highs, hitting almost 25% in 1932. The nation was devastated. People were starving. They couldn't pay their rent or mortgages. Bread lines wrapped around the entire blocks and soup kitchens set up by charitable organizations and churches were overflowing with hungry people. So I think this is exactly what we're going to end up seeing here because grocery prices are not going down. Tariffs continue to stay on board. Medications are going to be tariffed now. I did see that earlier this week. Which medications are going to be tariffed? I have no idea. Costs are going to continue to rise. Our wages aren't going up. Our social safety nets are disappearing. And we have Project 2025 in progress. And I think they have been doing Project 2025 for some time because when you think of the big picture, I live in Kansas, so I already live in a theocracy. And so each state is in their own little design. And you can see it when you zoom out because they have already gotten rid of Roe v. Wade, and each state was deciding on whether or not to keep that. And so it's just going to go further and further into this theocracy, and Republicans are not understanding what's going on because they're going to try it again. I think next year, even in Kansas, they're going to try and get rid of abortion again. So we're just going to have to continue to educate people on what's going on. And they're going to think we're crazy, but we're just going to have to keep doing it because this is our kids' future. And we're going to see lots of hungry people. I think we're going to see more women dying because in the states that already have restrictions on abortions, women are suffering from sepsis. We had that lady in Georgia who no longer had autonomy over her body. Her family could not decide. The state basically owned her body. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that. And we're just going to have to stay engaged and try and get people to understand what's going on and reading our books and being in our book clubs and just being in for the long haul. Sadly, a lot of us took everything for granted and now the demagogue is taking everything away. But anyways, I will leave a link down below if you want to join our book club. This is probably going to be a long-term thing for us because I love education and we have lots and lots of people that need education about what's going on and how these policies are going to be hurting them.